Vanishing Tales, The Net, by Sally Gamble. Vanish couldn't believe it. He was trapped in a net. One of the very nets his mama had warned about. Oh my goodness, Vanish thought. This is it. The net that catches everything. The one you don't always come back from. Vanish began to feel a terrible fear creeping through him. What if I can't get out? What if they take me away? His heart pounded. He had heard stories, hushed, sorrowful ones, about dolphins who were taken to places where they had to perform tricks, jump through hoops, balance balls, and live in tiny tanks. He felt a chill deep in his fins. What if I never see the sea again? What if I never see Mama? Or my pod? Or the wide, beautiful blue where everything feels free? It was huge, this net. It seemed to stretch across the whole universe, wrapping up fish and sea creatures in its awful nets and ropes. He thrashed, twisted, tried to wriggle free, but the net kept dragging. More and more lives were being scooped up, helpless and tangled. Then, without warning, it stopped. For a moment, all was still. That's when Vanish saw it. A strange creature squirming nearby, one he'd seen before, but never this close. This one was much larger than any he had seen or imagined, his arms stretched long and strong, curling and uncurling like elegant ropes. But what caught Vanish's attention most was how the creature shimmered and shifted right before his eyes. 1 second, he looked like a rock, blending into the twisted shadows of the net. The next, he took on the same dull color and pattern as the ropes themselves. He could change into anything. It was like watching the sea itself shape into something alive. Vanish couldn't look away. He's magical, he thought. He had no idea how incredibly different, how clever and how beautiful octopuses truly were until this very scary day. As he watched the octopus move, so smoothly, so purposefully, with arms that seemed to think for themselves, Vanish felt a pang of something new. Admiration. And maybe, just a little bit of envy. I wish I could do that, he thought. I wish I could vanish like that. Blend in, escape, hide, reappear, and then hide again. But instead, he was stuck in a net. And this magical, many-armed creature was wriggling closer to him, like a secret from the deep sea that had come to life. The octopus floated even closer until they were eyeball to eyeball. Vanish noticed that the octopus was missing a part of one of his arms, and there was a bend in it that made it look like a human hand. It was scarred and bruised, but nevertheless so magnificent. You're not going to get out of here, the octopus said calmly. Well, I don't think you're getting out either, Vanish replied. What do we do? The octopus blinked slowly. I'm amazing, actually. I can squeeze my whole body into teeny tiny spaces. If I can find a hole just big enough. How big? The octopus made a circle with one of his limbs. About this big. It was just slightly bigger than the squares in the net. Vanish, though still stuck, twisted and tugged until he slipped one fin free and started scanning the net with him. My name's Occupie, by the way, said the octopus, squiggling off on his search. I'm Vanish, he called back. Then a voice rang out, Found one. Occupy waved an arm. I'm going through. You coming? Please don't leave me, Vanish shouted. Help me. Please, I need to get up to the surface to breathe. Occupy paused. All right. Come here. Get over to this hole. Try to wiggle your way toward me. Vanish kicked and pushed, his heart pounding, until he reached the opening Occupy had found. It wasn't much bigger than a conch shell. "I can't get through that," Vanish cried. "That's way too small for me." "We'll make it bigger," said Occupy with a grin. "Start chewing at the rope. I'll pull. When one bit breaks, the hole will grow." They chewed and tore and snapped and pulled, working together desperately. Occupy's limbs reached out in all directions, 8 arms like a swirling storm, each one focused and fierce. Then something happened that made Vanish stop and stare, even in the middle of their struggle. Occupy gripped one thick section of rope and pulled. His arms coiled around it with incredible force, and then, snap! It broke apart like old seaweed. And then another. Snap! And another. The strength in those arms was astonishing. Vanish had never imagined an octopus could be so powerful. The muscles in Occupy's limbs flexed and worked like they had minds of their own, each one tearing through the net with purpose. The power and force inside this strange creature was beyond anything Vanish had ever seen. And then, right before his eyes, Occupy's body began to shift again. The shimmering colors faded into something darker, bolder. His shape looked larger now, more commanding. He wasn't soft or squishy anymore. He looked like the most powerful creature Vanish had ever laid eyes on. Vanish felt a jolt of admiration that ran all the way through him. He's not just magical, he thought. He's a warrior. "Come on, Vanish," Occupy called out. With one last shove, Vanish squeezed through just as the net broke the surface. A moment later, they heard a great thud as everything in the net was dumped onto the deck of a boat. "What are they doing?" Vanish asked, wide-eyed. "They're sorting," said Occupy, "dropping all the lives they caught onto the deck. Then they sift through it to find whatever it is they want." "What do they want?" "Depends," said Occupy. "Some days it's shrimp, some days it's tuna. Today? Who knows?" They watched from the water as fish, crabs, starfish, so many creatures, were scooped, poked, and tossed. Some were flung back into the sea, stunned, barely moving. Some began to swim again, dazed but alive. A crab tumbled through the water and landed upright, scuttling away. A fish twitched once, then darted into the shadowy blue. But not all of them made it. Most did not. Some floated, limp and motionless. Others drifted down, slowly sinking toward the bottom, their lives taken by something they never even saw coming. Vanish felt a shiver in his fins. Why would they pull us all out? Just to toss us aside? Occupy gave a soft sigh. Because they don't always realize the harm. You weren't what they were looking for. But that doesn't mean you'd have survived being up there. Vanish was quiet for a long time. Then he turned to Occupy. "Thank you. Really. You saved me." Occupy shrugged a little. "Most dolphins don't talk to us. Sometimes they don't understand us. They don't know how smart or sensitive we are." "I'm sorry," said Vanish. "I didn't know. We thought octopuses were just funny looking." "Funny looking?" Occupy raised an eyebrow. "We are fabulous looking." Vanish grinned. "You're also smart and brave and kind. You saved my life." The ocean rippled gently around them as the boat drifted away. Vanish looked around at all the sea creatures slowly recovering, swimming back into the deep. Some were already gone. Some were getting stronger with every flick of their tails. And some were gone forever. Vanish had narrowly escaped the net that day, but not without a reminder. As he had twisted and kicked to free himself, one strand caught his dorsal fin and grazed it, leaving behind a small, crescent-shaped scar. It didn't hurt anymore, and it didn't slow his swim, but it was visible, just enough to mark him apart from the others. A sign. A story. A symbol of what he'd been through and who had helped him through it. From that day on, he carried it not with shame, but with quiet pride. A reminder of the danger he'd escaped and the friend he'd made in Occupy. He would never forget. I don't think I'll ever look at another sea creature the same way again, Vanish said softly. Everyone down here has something amazing about them, even if we don't always see it at first. The end.